Greetings and welcome to the video production of Pixel Pioneer, a prominent cartoon and gaming channel network, AI content creation, analytical article writer, videography, photographer. It possessed dynamic quality for writing good articles and standalone data-driven decision maker from the original sources of novels, books, historic documentary. Okay, today we're pulling back the curtain on the financial reality of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. This isn't just your standard sporting event. It's a massive, multi-billion-dollar operation. And in this explainer, we're going to follow the money to see exactly how this empire is operating on American soil. To really wrap your head around the economics of the World Cup, you have to understand the sheer jaw-dropping scale of it all. During the 2022 tournament in Qatar, over 5 billion people tuned in. Think about that for a second. That is more than 60% of the entire world's population, all watching one single event over the course of a month. But here's the crazy part. Many Americans don't even realize the absolute magnitude of what's about to hit our shores. So, to put that scale into perspective, we in the US tend to think of the Super Bowl as the absolute peak of sports broadcasting, right? Well, the most watched Super Bowl ever pulled in an undeniably impressive 1.27 million viewers. Now compare that to the 2022 World Cup final between Argentina and France. 1.42 billion people watched that single game. It is literally the most watched sporting event ever recorded. We're talking about a completely different universe here. Now, historically, the tournament has featured 32 teams playing 64 games. But for 2026, they're expanding the whole format to 48 teams, which gives us a massive 104 games. Now, you might be wondering, are they just being more inclusive? Well, adding 16 teams wasn't exactly just about global goodwill. It was a highly calculated move to generate 40 more games worth of sellable inventory, tickets, and ad space. Which leads us straight to this staggering projection. All in, the 2026 World Cup is projected to earn anywhere from $11 to $13 billion. That's almost double the revenue of the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. When you have an event operating at a scale that completely dwarfs the Super Bowl, the financial opportunities are, well, practically limitless. Interestingly enough, that $13 billion projection breaks down in a very specific way. The absolute biggest slice of the pie? That's broadcast rights, bringing in roughly $4.2 billion all on its own. FIFA is projecting 6 billion views across TV, streaming, and digital platforms. They're tapping into a global audience that effectively guarantees media companies are going to pay absolutely top dollar for the rights to broadcast these matches. Section 1. A History of Corruption, FIFA's Dark Past. So, historically, the staggering scale of this event has allowed the organization to operate with minimal global oversight. Take Czech Blazer, for example. He was the only American on FIFA's executive committee. Operating with funding from CONCACAF, which governs soccer in our region, Blazer lived a life of absolute extreme luxury. He maintained an $18,000 a month personal apartment and, get this, he incredibly rented a second apartment just for his cats for $6,000 a month. No way, right? Using his accounting background, shell companies, and offshore accounts, he managed to embezzle around $20 million over 2 decades without even paying a dime in taxes on it. But Blazer's story is really just the tip of the iceberg. Our source materials detail the infamous FIFA Gate, which is the largest fraud and racketeering scheme in the history of football. 14 officials and marketing executives were charged, with reports indicating they received over $150 million in bribes to buy votes, select host cities, and sell marketing rights. These numbers, objectively recorded in the source materials, paint a picture of a system that has historically really lacked transparency. Section 2. Complete brand control, protecting the sponsors. But despite all the scandals, fans just keep showing up, allowing FIFA to ruthlessly protect their staggering $2.4 billion in sponsorship revenue. I mean, it sounds like a joke, but why were 36 women arrested for wearing orange dresses? Believe it or not, it actually happened during the 2010 World Cup Netherlands versus Denmark game. A group of 36 women were sitting in the crowd wearing identical, unbranded orange dresses. Eventually, FIFA and the local police detained all of them and kicked them right out of the match. So why? It's because of what FIFA calls ambush marketing and their incredibly strict clean stadium policy. Those dresses were secretly provided by the Bavaria Beer Company. However, the official sponsor of the World Cup was Budweiser. You see, FIFA demands clean zones, meaning every single logo inside and outside the stadium, and even at local bars within a designated perimeter, must belong to an approved vendor. They literally deployed police over unbranded dresses simply to eliminate any whisper of competition for their official sponsors. And their monetization strategies are getting even more creative for 2026. Since games are being played in hot US cities like Dallas and Miami,
FIFA mandated 3-minute water breaks in the middle of each 45-minute half. Ostensibly, this is for player safety. But really, it's the Americanization of the world sport. Those water breaks are actually commercial breaks. By squeezing in just 6 more minutes of ads per game, Fox and Telemundo are projecting $850 million in total ad spend across the tournament. A real game changer for the networks, for sure.
Section 3, monetizing the fans, the cost of attendance. All of this unprecedented commercialization directly impacts the everyday spectator just trying to experience the games. Getting a ticket is a grueling, multi-phase process designed specifically to maximize value and prevent market flooding. First, there's a lottery phase, where you simply apply for the chance to buy a ticket. If you fail there, you enter an online waiting room, and if you somehow make it through that, you don't find a set price. Nope. Instead, FIFA is adopting dynamic pricing tools. As a game gets more popular, the ticket prices artificially surge. The result of that dynamic pricing strategy is absolutely staggering. Just to put it into perspective, the cheapest available ticket for the World Cup final in Qatar just a few years ago was $64. The cheapest publicly available seat for the 2026 final, right now, it's over $4,000. FIFA is leaning heavily into American sports pricing models to squeeze maximum profit out of the spectator. So what if you want to buy a ticket on the secondary market? Well, FIFA exclusively owns the resale market on FIFA.com, and they charge a 15% fee to both the seller and the buyer. They double dip. They make money on the initial massive sale, and then they take another huge cut when the ticket changes hands. And remember those clean zones we talked about? You can't just buy a ticket from a scalper outside the stadium. It won't be honored. They control the whole shebang. As you might expect, this aggressive approach hasn't gone unnoticed. Subpoenas have already been filed by the New York and New Jersey Attorney Generals against FIFA. The claims allege insane dynamic pricing, with 34% price hikes leading up to the tournament, as well as bait-and-switch tactics, where fans buy premium seats but get moved to worse ones. Section 4. The cost to host. Who foots the bill? So the fans are paying a premium, but what about the locations holding the events? The sobering reality is that the local taxpayer ultimately shoulders the physical burden of this empire. The 11 U.S. host cities are facing an estimated $250 million infrastructure bill to pay for things like trains and security. But here is the real kicker. They get zero ticket revenue. They get zero concession or merchandise revenue from the stadiums. And remember those clean zones? The cities are heavily restricted from using local sponsors to raise money if those local companies compete with official FIFA partners. The ultimate irony here is that the cities have to rely entirely on taxes from local hotels and tourism to recoup their costs. Why? Because FIFA is classified as a nonprofit organization. Yep, you heard that right. Despite projecting up to $13 billion in revenue, they pay zero income tax on World Cup earnings. Host nations and cities miss out entirely on what should be a massive, massive income tax windfall. And to make matters worse, that promised tourism boom might fall totally flat. According to the source data, only 1% of Americans actually plan to attend the games, and many are just planning on crashing on friends' couches to save money. Furthermore, the staggeringly high costs of travel and tickets are pricing out the international tourists who traditionally flood host countries. So the economic upside for the host cities is looking increasingly precarious. Which leaves us with this final, incredibly important question to ponder. As ticket prices soar to $4,000, ads completely take over the gameplay, and host cities foot a $250 million bill, how far can FIFA push people's love for the game before the fans simply stop showing up? Thank you for watching the video of Pixel Pioneer. Have a blessed day ahead and subscribe our channel to get more informative videos in future. We will give you all the best solutions of problems and consultations based on your opinions and suggestions. Please like the channel, share, and comment if you love this video and inspire us for the future video creation.